The stopwatches in Indianapolis don't lie. Every 40-yard dash, every vertical leap, every bench press rep, they're recorded, measured, analyzed, and remembered. For more than a decade, when Alabama players stepped onto that field at the NFL Combine, the assumption was automatic. First-round talent, pro-ready, built for Sundays. But something feels different this year. Not the effort, not the preparation. The Crimson Tide still sent one of the most respected draft classes in the country. The SEC remains the strongest conference in football. Alabama still ranks among the national leaders in NFL draft picks over the last decade. Those facts haven't changed. What has changed is the conversation. For the first time in years, analysts are debating projections instead of locking them in. Mock drafts are cautious instead of confident. And in modern college football, perception travels faster than performance. This isn't about whether Alabama has talent. It's about whether the aura of inevitability still exists. And that raises a bigger question, one that could shape recruiting, NIL leverage, and national perception moving forward. Are we witnessing a routine evaluation, or the beginning of a narrative shift around Alabama's NFL dominance? Let's break it down. For more than a decade, Alabama didn't just participate in the NFL draft conversation, it defined it. Under Nick Saban, the Crimson Tide produced more first-round draft picks than any other program throughout the 2010s. Defensive backs like Minkah Fitzpatrick and Marlon Humphrey. Dominant linemen like Quinnen Williams and Jonah Williams. Edge rushers, wide receivers, interior anchors. Year after year, the names were called early. The pattern became predictable. That predictability became power. Recruits didn't need a sales pitch. The results were visible every April. NFL scouts didn't need convincing. The film and the physical development spoke for themselves. NFL ready wasn't a marketing slogan. It was a reputation earned over time through consistency and structure. And consistency is what built the aura. But here's where the tone shifts. This cycle, national draft boards are discussing Alabama prospects with more caution. Still respected, still highly regarded, but debated. Analysts are projecting, recalibrating, comparing. The language is slightly different, less automatic, more evaluative. That distinction is subtle. Yet in elite college football, subtle shifts matter. This year, Alabama again sent a strong group to Indianapolis. Defensive linemen with size and power, offensive linemen with SEC experience, athletes who face the highest level of weekly competition in the country. The SEC remains the most physically demanding conference in college football, and Alabama has remained at the center of that environment. The measurable traits are there, the production is there, the exposure is there. But the national landscape has changed. Georgia has captured recent national championships and built its own draft momentum. Michigan surged into playoff dominance. The SEC's internal balance has tightened, and for the first time in over a decade, Alabama entered an offseason without Nick Saban leading the program. That leadership transition alone reframes conversations, even if the infrastructure remains strong. In previous years, Alabama prospects walked into the Combine with inevitability attached. Scouts expected polish, general managers expected readiness. Now the evaluations feel more comparative, more layered, less assumed. The Combine has always been about measurable performance, the 40-yard dash, the shuttle drills, positional workouts. But it has also always been about signaling. Mock drafts shape public perception. Public perception influences recruiting momentum. Recruiting momentum feeds roster strength, and roster strength fuels long-term relevance. This week in Indianapolis is about testing muscle and speed, but it is also about testing brand durability. Alabama's dominance was never just about trophies in January, it was about April. It was about showing that the development model translated to Sundays. Over the past decade, Alabama routinely placed multiple players in round one. That repetition became institutional credibility. Now the stakes feel more structural. If multiple Alabama prospects solidify top-tier draft positioning again, the conversation resets quickly. The post-Saban narrative softens. The development pipeline remains validated. The perception gap closes, but if projections tighten, even slightly, the shift won't signal collapse. It won't signal decline. It will signal something more nuanced. It will signal that the automatic assumption is gone. And in college football, assumption equals leverage. Leverage in recruiting battles, leverage in NIL conversations, leverage in preseason rankings. Programs fight for perception because perception becomes momentum. Here's the part that often gets overlooked. The combine is not truly testing whether Alabama players can run fast or lift heavy. That part is expected. The SEC prepares athletes for that stage. What's being measured quietly is whether Alabama's structural dominance remains intact without question. For more than a decade, the Crimson Tide operated under an aura of inevitability, not invincibility. Inevitability. When draft night arrived, Alabama names were called early. That repetition reinforced belief. Now that belief is being examined in real time. And here's the twist. The measurable data still supports Alabama's elite standing. Over the past 10 drafts, Alabama has consistently ranked near or at the top nationally in total players selected. The depth across positions remains strong. Scouts still praise the program's preparation standards. The SEC schedule still offers the most demanding proving ground in the sport. Nothing about the foundation suggests erosion. What has changed is the conversation around it. In modern college football, perception can move faster than production. Social media accelerates narratives. One playoff miss becomes a storyline. One leadership transition becomes a debate. One draft cycle becomes a referendum. The real test isn't whether Alabama has talent. The real test is whether the country still assumes it does without hesitation. This combine will not define Alabama's 2026 season. Wins and losses in the fall will do that. But it may shape how that season is framed before the first kickoff. It may influence how recruits evaluate the program. It may influence how analysts project the roster. It may influence how confidently the NFL pipeline is discussed. If Alabama reasserts its draft positioning with multiple early selections, the legacy narrative strengthens. The transition period looks seamless. The brand looks stable. If the margins narrow, the debate intensifies. Not panic, not collapse. Debate. And debate at the highest level of college football is energy. Something is being evaluated in Indianapolis this week. Not dramatically, not emotionally, structurally. The stopwatches are running, the drills are unfolding, the numbers will be recorded. But the larger outcome won't be measured in seconds, it will be measured in perception. Is Alabama still built for the NFL at the same unquestioned level that defined the 2010s? Or are we entering a new phase where dominance must be reasserted rather than assumed? That's the shift under review. And sometimes the most important moments in a program's trajectory don't arrive with headlines. They unfold quietly, inside evaluation rooms, on draft boards, and in the space between certainty and discussion. So now the conversation turns to you. Is this simply another draft cycle in a long line of Crimson Tide success? Or does this moment signal a recalibration in how Alabama's NFL dominance is viewed across the country? Drop your take below. Because in college football, legacies aren't lost overnight. They're measured. And right now, Alabama is under review. Before closing, a special thanks to Debut33 for jumping in with that strong roll tide. That kind of energy might look simple in the comment section, but it represents something deeper, confidence in the program's identity. Alabama's legacy at the NFL level wasn't built overnight. and it won't be shaken by one draft cycle or one national conversation. That steady belief from the fan base is part of what keeps the standard high year after year. And to everyone else who commented, even if names didn't make this segment before closing, your voice matters here. Every perspective adds to the discussion, every insight sharpens the analysis, and every passionate response reflects how invested this community is in the Crimson Tide's future. The conversation continues, and everyone is welcome at the table. Roll Tide.